Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Mission Snapshot. As always, we are so grateful that you're taking time out of your schedule to share this time with us. We really enjoy being able to bring you these stories from the mission field and give them to you for inspiration and just to be a bright spot in your day. Hannah is going to be, she's over there, and she's going to be popping information down below, some resources that we have, and you will want to go check those out because we have quite a bit of resource listings for you today. So please keep an eye on that. Here in the studio with me is Christina, and
Hi.
so this is Bible Worker Day.
Yes.
And we are going to be going somewhere other than India today for our Bible workers. And so this is really exciting for us. And so where are we going today?
Today we're going to Bangladesh.
Okay. And for our viewers who don't know where Bangladesh is, where is it located?
Okay, so Bangladesh is in the northeast of India and kind of southeast of Nepal, up there in the corner.
So it's in the place where it goes with India, then Bangladesh, and India again.
Right.
So if you're used to looking at the upper right corner of your maps, that's where it is, and we have it here. Okay. Yep. So this is new.
Yes.
This is relatively new work. And so what has been happening in Bangladesh?
Okay, well, yes, like you said, this is new work, and we went there to dig some wells because we heard about their need for clean water.
Right.
And the group that went to dig wells, they were also doing some medical ministry while they were there. They realized, because they did one of their clinics in an old church, and they realized there that there were several churches, I think 22?
Yeah, I think so.
23, I don't know, but several churches that had been open, but they've closed like 15 years ago.
Wow.
And the reason they closed is because, you know, there was a project that was funded and the churches were built and established, but then that funding, the group that funded that stepped out of Bangladesh and turned the projects over, the churches over to the conference or whatever it's called there.
Yeah, and so they don't have a lot of money in that country. It's a relatively poor country.
Right.
So the tithes and the offerings that would come from the members weren't enough to be able to support these churches.
Right. So sadly, these churches were shut down.
Yeah.
So we learned about that, and now we have gotten some Bible workers there and starting to open up at least a few of these churches.
So we had an earlier episode of Mission Snapshot that gave an introduction to this project, and we're going to drop a link below to that Mission Snapshot if you would like to take a look at it. That gives you more of the background of where we are. And today is an update for you, which we're happy to be able to bring to you. And so take a look at the other version, then come back here.
Okay. So one of the churches, we have a picture here of one of the old churches, and it needed a lot of repairs before they could use it.
Right.
And so we were able to tell them we could send them some money to make these repairs. Right. But they realized that their estimate was not what it was going to actually cost to make the repairs. So instead, they used the money to build another more simple structure.
Right.
Where they could just start meeting.
Right, because the money that we were able to give would not cover the entire cost of repairing the brick church. And so rather than have a half-done repair, they thought, let's do something brand new.
Right.
Right.
And so we have pictures of the new church.
Okay.
This is for the grand opening, and there's a lot of people, as you can see, that are there excited about having a church again.
Absolutely. I can see all of their a lot of these are kids too that are in there. So that's really exciting. So the picture that's on the screen right now is from the outside of the church.
Right.
And so we'll go inside.
Yes. And so it's a pretty simple structure.
It is.
But these people are very excited to have a church to meet in.
I know they've been waiting for 15 years to do this.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the pastor here, he had to stop pastoring. And we met, or that group met him when they were over there and asked him if he would be willing to pastor again, given the opportunity. And he was very excited. So he is now one of our Bible workers, but is leading this church.
My understanding, if I'm remembering correctly, is that the pastor, when he lost his job 15 years ago as pastor here, he went into like industry. So he had a job And then when he was offered the opportunity to come back and be a Bible worker, he's like, absolutely. So he quit his full-time job in order to come back to this church.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's excited to do
Yeah,
ministry.
absolutely. Well, that's exciting to know that one of the churches is now up and running, and that we have one Bible worker in place, because we put out a call for Bible workers.
Yes.
So now we have one. Okay.
Well, yes.
Then
And we have a couple more that I'm going to share stories from.
Okay.
So this is Laxmi. Well, the man here.
Yes.
And then he has a wife and a daughter and a son there in the picture.
Yeah.
And he grew up as an Adventist.
Okay.
He went to the academy or whatever, but an Adventist school.
Right.
And then he went to government school for college.
Okay.
He's an educated man. While he was in college, they were, the teachers there were encouraging him with different job options so he could have a good life.
Right.
Make a decent amount of money. But he had in his heart to do ministry. So he took a job as it was a job with a Nazarene church, a Sunday church, where he was working as a caregiver, and then he got promoted into a management position where he was actually preaching and teaching there. But he always had that conflict inside of him because he knew the Adventist doctrine and would struggle with not preaching that when he was in that role, doing that.
Right.
So he eventually left that job. And his wife was concerned because then he's without a job now for 2 months here in between. And then he took another job, but that put him working with Muslims.
He worked at a bank, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And then so the Muslim co-workers there really didn't want anything to do with him because he was a Christian.
Right. And their holy day is Friday. So again, he's in a job where
he can't keep Sabbath.
Yeah.
So he got out of one bad position and kind of back in the same position with another job. But then he began to see this as a ministry opportunity, had an opportunity to share with the Muslims he was working with. But after a while, again, it was still taking a toll, and he felt he wasn't where God wanted him to be.
Right.
And so he left that job. And that's, I think, when he was offered the job as a Bible worker.
Right.
Now, I think his wife was a little concerned about that job because the pay probably isn't what he was making.
No.
But he shares how happy he is.
Yeah.
He's really happy. There's actually a line at the bottom of this, and it says, "I have earnings less. I am very much happy. Please pray for me and my family also."
Right. So for him, he found out that money wasn't as fulfilling as being in a position that God was calling him to.
Right.
Right. And so I want to take advantage of this opportunity right here to say that for the stipends for Bible workers in Bangladesh, it's $150 a month, as opposed to India where it's $90, because it's more expensive. The cost of living is more expensive in Bangladesh. So even though they're getting $150 a month, that's still not a lot for the average standard of living in Bangladesh. So I can see why his wife would be concerned, but I can also see why he would be so much happier doing exactly what God wants him to do, even without the money.
Right. Yeah. I think from reading his story, he felt that tug from God on his heart all through these years as he was in different jobs.
Right. And you and I were talking before we started recording here, is that he had a good job. It was a good paying job. He had a college degree.
Yes.
And
he's educated.
He left that and decided that following God was more important and more
satisfying, fulfilling. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's 2 Bible workers. Yes. We have one more, right?
One more. Yes.
Okay.
This is Roy, and he's our 3rd Bible worker. And he shared with me how he had this girlfriend. They've been dating for 5 years, very much in love, but there was a problem. They couldn't get married because her father wouldn't approve of it because they are Hindu.
Okay.
He's a Christian. And so they had to break up. They broke up in December.
No.
But Roy was not going to give up on this relationship. He decided to take it to God.
Good.
So he began to earnestly pray, and he knew that God would answer his prayer.
Right.
And so prior to the breakup, they didn't really talk about much. I mean, maybe a little bit about religion, but not a whole lot. And then after the breakup, they began to talk more.
Wow.
And he began to share a lot about Jesus.
Wow.
And she got interested and wanted to learn more. And her family got interested. So,
Wow.
yeah. And so now they're back together. And they're actually planning to get married in November.
Wow.
And so Roy is so excited that not only did God answer his prayer, that he's looking forward to marrying the woman that he loves,
Wow.
but he's been able to bring this Hindu family
Absolutely.
into Christianity.
That's amazing. That's a fun story.
Yes.
That is. I love it. Okay.
But she has an interest to be a school teacher.
Wow.
And wants to also work with him in ministry. And so maybe, I don't know what the future holds,
Right.
but we do know the church that where he is working has a school connected with it or right next to it.
Right.
That we have hopes of opening again.
That's amazing. So we put up on the screen one view of the campus, and now this is going to be another view of the campus,
Right.
just so folks can.
So you can see the church in this picture
Right.
on the right there. So yeah, so he's our third Bible worker.
That's great, and so he also wants to do this school. And I know that we're interested in having the school because
Yes.
we love to have education and teaching. And so I know that's where they're headed. They're not there yet, but that's where
Well,
Roy's going.
yes, and something he's also shared with me is that he believes that if they're able to educate the children, then in a few years, those children will be able to be workers, Bible workers. But
Yes.
in the meantime, while they're educating the children are going to be educating their families. And we've seen that
Absolutely.
before.
Yes, we have. We have. With our evening schools, we've talked about this on Mission Snapshot, that teaching someone in the evening schools impacts the entire family and even neighbors
Yeah,
around.
the whole community
Yeah.
is
So it's
blessed.
good.
So we're looking forward to see what happens next here.
I know. This is exciting because this is a story that's unfolding.
Yeah.
So we have 22 churches that we were interested in reviving, and we now have 3. We now have 3. And so we're going to be hearing more stories as the churches open up. So I think that that's really exciting.
Yes, and we got to pray for more Bible workers.
That's right. We do. We need more Bible workers. So we're going to drop some links below. If you want to know more about these projects in Bangladesh, there are 2 Jesus for Asia Now episodes that we will link to. And if you're interested in supporting Roy and the other Bible workers, we're going to drop a link to the direct donation page for Bible workers in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And that way you can be a part of this unfolding story
Yeah.
of reopening these churches that have been closed for so many years.
15 years.
15 years. Well, thank you, Christina, for sharing these with us. I'm so happy to be able to give our viewers an update on something that
Yes.
we've already talked about. And if you're interested in this project or any other project of Jesus for Asia, I invite you to go to our website at jesusforasia.org. There you will get information on our more than 60 projects, and there will be something that will resonate with your heart there. And we invite you to please pray for the projects. Pray for Roy and the Bible workers and these churches where the people have been waiting for so long. And we know that your prayers work because they worked with Roy, and he credits prayer for being able to reconnect with his fiance and her family.
Right.
So thank you so much for your prayers. And if you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. If you're watching this on Facebook for the first time, please go ahead and like our page. This way you will get notifications of when we have our programs each week, and we'd love to have you keep joining us. Well, thank you for being with us today. This has been your Mission Snapshot.